So hey, I'm back. I had to take some time off to do some family stuff. To be completely honest with you, I'm still getting back in the groove of things. Like, I'm back, but I'm a mess right now. I didn't want to take another week without making a video because I've kind of been on a roll and I know what it means to take too much time off. It just makes it that much harder to come back. So I thought, let me just come back this week, even though I'm not feeling 100% prepared. And so I thought this week would be a good time to do something that I haven't done maybe ever. I've been getting a lot of questions about like me and my practice, and maybe this would be a good opportunity to kind of catch up on that. And then also, I attempted to do Dogust last month. So I have a lot of stuff going on in my sketchbook, and I thought since it's pretty much halfway full, it is probably a good time to catch you guys up on everything that I've been doing in my sketchbook. So yeah, let's do that. Let's just ease on back in. We'll do a little paint with me Q&A, and then I'll catch you up on everything I've been doing in my sketchbook. So one of the questions I get a lot, like probably more than any other question, is specifically about my oil painting practice, because I think a lot of people don't think you can oil paint on paper, let alone on paper in a sketchbook. And I do it all the time. I love painting on paper with oils, and I actually love painting in my sketchbook. So there's obviously a couple of things going on there with oil paints. One is that they take forever to dry. So yeah, you do need to kind of have a way to store your sketchbook that it's not going to get touched. You're not going to close it or anything while the oil paints are drying, but they don't take like a week to dry. I mean, I'm not painting super thick, so they're pretty much touch dry in like a day or two. I usually will leave it sit open for at least a day or two, if not a little bit more, just to be sure. But once it is touch dry, you're fine. Like it's not gonna come off. That paint's gonna, it's not gonna necessarily stick to the page across from it, as long as there's nothing sticky on that other page. You'll be fine to open and close your book once that paint is touch dry. The other thing that sometimes I will do though is I'll use like a wax, like a finishing wax, like a dry wax medium, or even like polishing wax, like furniture polishing wax. And if I have like a painting that for some reason I think needs protecting, then I will put that like on top. You can also get like a spray varnish if you're really worried about it, and spray that on there, like a retouch varnish. But you really don't need to do any of that stuff. And yeah. So in terms of prepping the paper, I typically will just use a matte medium and I'll tint it with a little bit of acrylic. But like in this sketchbook, I'm just using acrylic paint that I either like used my jelly plate to print into the book, or just brayered it on or painted it on with a paintbrush. So yeah, it's just, the paper's just, as long as it's sealed with something like acrylic, matte medium, even like watered down Elmer's glue, or just something that's going to seal that paper. And that's not super necessary. I just like the way that the paint sits on top of that material, and it also protects the other side of the page, because sometimes the oils will seep into the paper, and then you'll get that kind of oily like residue on the back of the page. So if you want to put something on the other side, you just want to protect that page. So So yeah, it's super easy. I don't use any mediums. I don't use any solvents in my paint when I'm painting. I just use it straight out of the tube. And I don't use any expensive, super special paints either. Like I'll use Winsor Newton. I like the Lucas brand. I've used Color Block, which are super, super inexpensive paints. And yeah, like they work great. They work perfectly. They dry relatively quickly for oil paints, and no problem with them whatsoever. So yeah, highly recommend it. If you are interested in oil painting, I think that's a great way to start and just get some like low low stress, low risk practice in your sketchbook, because I so this starts getting into the next question, which is how long have I been oil painting? But I've been oil painting like this, I want to say since 2020. So I started teaching myself oil painting in 2020, and I was just doing it like once a week, and now I'm pretty much exclusively painting with oils. But I started with oils and with acrylics, and before that I was strictly watercolor and gouache, and the difference is like night and day. So if you're a watercolor or gouache person and you haven't tried oils, it's probably going to take you a few paintings to get really used to the paint handling, because it is very, very different. But once you get the feel for how blendy and buttery and juicy these paints are, you might be addicted. I know I am addicted. So definitely worth giving a try. Don't have to spend a lot of money on paint to get started. Don't have to worry about what mediums or solvents. You don't need any. Just get started. Oh, and brush cleaning. Brush cleaning doesn't require solvents either. So I will just use like a regular bar soap and water to clean my brushes when I'm done. But to be honest, I don't even use like expensive brushes. I use very, very, very cheap brushes. Like the brush that I'm painting with in this painting, I've it's fallen apart so many times that I have masking tape around the ferrule because it just keeps falling off of the handle of the paintbrush. It's pretty pathetic, but it's like a 10-cent paintbrush. I should just replace it, but I don't know. I just don't, and I just keep using it, and it works just fine. So I'm a fan of these little round brushes. When I was acrylic painting, I would use a lot of flat brushes because I used that kind of flat edge to get to drawing marks. I don't know why with oil paints I prefer drawing with a very pointy round brush, and I always use synthetics just because they're cheap and why not. And yeah, so that's everything I can think of about my oil painting practice, specifically my sketchbook oil painting practice. So yeah, I think I've covered most of those oil painting tips before, but maybe not all in one place. So now they're all in one place, and hopefully that answered all of your questions. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on here, because let me tell you right now, this is probably the quickest that I've ever filled up half a sketchbook ever. And like it's literally half. It's like 3 pages shy of halfway full. So, yeah. This is pretty amazing. So, let's jump in. Let's take a look. So this is my sketchbook, the one that I just started, and you can see I dated it. So I just started this one July 30th, and today it's like the middle of September now, and so I'm about halfway through. And just to give you like a point of reference, my last sketchbook that was about the same size, like that one took me 2 years to fill up. And so, yeah. So that's the reference point here. Now, 2 years is way too long, but like filling a sketchbook in like 2 months, that's unheard of for me too. So I'm not going to fill this up in 2 months, but I definitely think it's possible that I could have this filled up by the end of the year, which is like crazy for me. Like, that's just crazy. But anyway, let me jump in and show you what we've done so far. So I think I've shown some of this before, but I did go ahead and because I repurposed this from like a journal, I went ahead and jelly plate printed a bunch of pages, like pre-printed them so that I could come in later and like paint on them. Like I mentioned before, that's one of the ways that I prep my pages when I'm going to oil paint. I don't know if I'm going to paint on all of them, but that's the plan. So that's what we did. And so that's actually what we did here today. So this is also oil paint. Just painted a piece of paper on here. And then we painted this sweet pup. Painted this little pup. You can't really see it. I might come back in here and lighten these up, but there's actually some stripes in the background, so I thought that was kind of cute. And that's actually still wet, so I'm gonna try and be extra careful in this book. All right, so a little pen drawing on this page, and nothing here yet. Couple printed pages. So I've got a couple of sketches in here. So one of the things that I like to do with my sketchbook is I like to pre-sketch. Sometimes I'm in a drawing mood, sometimes I'm in a painting mood. So I like to, when I'm in a drawing mood, I like to pre-sketch as many things as possible, and then I'll come back later and I'll paint it. And that's kind of like, that's just kind of how I work. Like I don't necessarily think of any of this stuff as finished work. So if I want to come back later and paint it, I will. If I never want to, I might not. But I like having stuff here for that because you never know what you're going to want to do in any given day. And I like to use this book as kind of like inspiration and just do whatever I feel like and kind of play around with stuff. But also I like to give myself, I like to give myself some of these little things that I know that I'm going to want to come back and work on later. Like, like something simple like this. I know there will be a day where I'm definitely low energy and I'll come back and paint this and I'll have like a great day. Same thing with this one. Like, I love this background, and at some point, someday, I'll come back and paint this in, but I'm, no rush, no hurry to get that done. Some of these other things are like ideas that I might have at any given time for something that I might want to put in a larger painting or something that I want to put like over in my art journal. So you never know. All right, so I think that might be the end of, there might be a few stray pages after this, but it was really the first section that I did a lot of the pre-printing of the pages with just my jelly plate and some acrylic paint. So I'll come back to these later and paint on them. But this is actually the start of my Doggist run. And so that was, if you're not familiar with it, there's a prompt list and it's 30 days of drawing in the month of August. And it's really fun because it's usually like all the prompts are like dog related. Either they're dog breeds or they're just, whatever. And I have always been drawing dogs. Like for at least the past 5 years, I've been drawing and painting pet portraits and drawing dogs, but I've never actually participated in Doggist. And so this year I thought like, hey, it's almost, we've just got a month before the holiday rush starts on in my Etsy shop. And so let me take advantage and let me try and do, a Dogist run. And so I started it the last day, the last day of July. Right after I started this sketchbook, I started this and I thought, let me get ahead, and that way I'll kind of give myself a leg up since this is my first time doing this. But honestly, like for somebody who draws dogs every day, this should not be an issue. But for some reason, getting into my sketchbook every day to do a dog sketch really did become kind of a challenge for me. So I got almost all the way through it. Spoiler alert, I didn't get all the way through, but I'll show you everything that I did. So first couple I did right before August started, and these are not in order, by the way, because you'll see I leave this page blank. So if I think I have a dog sketch that'll complement the one that's already there, I'll come back and fill that page in later. But yeah, I did quite a few. And this is actually the one that we did on the last video that we painted in the art journal. And that's actually one of my favorite things about this sketchbook, guys, is that I can take these sketches and copy them from here. I'll scan them in and print them out on a different sheet of paper, paste them into my art journal, and paint them over there. So this one, probably one you'll see over there. As well as I think this one will probably make it over into my art journal also. So this one I'll probably paint. Not sure if I'll paint it here or in my journal. But yeah, so I was trying my best to do one a day, but what I ended up doing was I would sit down and I would probably do like 3 or 4, and I was just, because I just couldn't find a single point in every day where I could just sit down and draw. I did paint one. By the way, if you notice that there's a lot of basset hounds and there's like a lot of basset hounds and a lot of Boston Terriers, that's not an accident. Those are two of my favorite dogs to draw. So I ended up filling out, this is another one that I'll probably come back and paint later, and I might pull that one into my art journal. It's so funny because I love painting in this book, but there are some that I can already see how they would benefit from like a more like a busier composition, and I can just see how I can almost imagine how they would look in there, and it kind of makes me want to work in that book too. So it's such a nice feeling when you kind of like your own work is inspiring you to do more work. I love that face. Bulldog, a Boston. All right, so we're still in August here, guys. And these are the last 2 that I did for August. Now, they're not the last 2 in this book, but they're the last 2 that I did for August. And then I did just a couple more. And that is officially it for this book. Yeah. But I can't believe that I'm halfway through, and I can't believe how many things I have in here already that I want to paint. So, yeah. So this has been a really fun sketchbook. All right, guys, so That is it for me for this week. I apologize for not having a lot. I apologize for missing a week and not having a lot going on this week. But hopefully you have fun flipping through my sketchbook with me and seeing where we are so far. And I promise that I'm going to have something fun next week. I don't know why I'm promising that, because I don't even know what it's going to be yet, but I'm feeling inspired. So it might be another art journal piece. It might be, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I can't commit to what it's going to be just yet, but we're going to find something fun to do. And yeah, so thanks for sticking around. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more. And yeah, I'll see you next time.